So you're basically manually building a buyer's list of builders. How often are they buying when you bring them something that you said you would?
Usually, if it fits their criteria, they'll say, for example, hey, Brandon, we're paying $50,000 for a 10,000 square foot lot. And these are infill lots. So there's a house, a vacant lot, and a house. So
Yeah.
we already know in certain markets, they're pretty good to go. Every market has obstacles to overcome, especially in Florida, whether it's utilities on site or endangered species or like wetlands, for example. But they'll do their due diligence once we have the agreements in place. But usually if it fits their criteria, they're good to go. They do their due diligence and they may close within 45 to 60 days for the bigger builders.
Okay. So their buying price. So you know what you're going to sell it for and to who. And so then you're just going out and hammering that small niche.
Right,
You're
right.
killing it. That's cool. That's actually backwards from how most people do it. Not backwards in a bad way. It's just like you're doing it from the other end around, which is pretty clever. I like that. What type of opportunity is there? How much volume is there? How many deals can people do a month with that type of strategy?
These bigger buyers, there's national builders that you're able to work with. It may be harder to get in touch with them, but once you have that contact and you build that relationship, you close a couple deals with them. They'll send you an email. They'll be like, hey, Brandon, we need 50 lots this month. We're paying $50,000 per lot in this area. So you are, okay, now it's time to get marketing to try to find some opportunities to bring them. Smaller mom and pop builders that don't do too much volume may buy a couple lots a month, but from my experience, they usually pay a little bit more than what national builders pay, but there's so much volume to be done. There's markets where you might make $3,000 to $5,000 on a wholesale deal, but you might be able to close 10 to 12 deals a month. And then there's markets where you can make $50,000 on one deal. Encourage people to do both, to have your volume going on so you're consistently closing deals, but also have these markets where the spreads are bigger and you're able to make a bigger assignment fee because in these smaller markets, for example, the lots might be selling for around maybe 20,000. There's only so much you can make in the middle when the lots are selling for 20. But
Yeah.
when they're selling for 100,000, you might be able to make a bigger assignment fee.
Mhm. What do you think the sweet spot is for price range types of properties where they're still easy to buy, but you got a good margin?
I always say when I do my market research and I'm looking for lots sold in the last 30 days, I probably put a minimum sales price of around 60,000 where we'd be able to make anything. But then again, I know good friends of mine that got into it. They jumped into markets where lots are selling for 20, but they're doing so much volume that you're able to make the same amount. It just depends on what you would like. Do you want to close 10 deals and make 50,000, or do you want to close one deal and make 50,000? I say do both.
You're just like high level picking counties and you're like, I'm gonna look for infill lots above 60 grand. And then I'm gonna go find builders. How do you do that initial research? I guess maybe if you're just in Florida, you might just know every county. How do you think about that initial research? Like where to go?
Yeah, so even if we were gonna jump into a whole different state, I would definitely start with the free tools like Zillow.com. I'll go ahead and I'll look at the lot sold in the last 30, 60, 90 days and see the trends going on. That way we can know that there's demand there. And then I'll switch up the filters and then see if there's no construction being built. And then we're able to dive deeper once we are like, okay, this might be a decent market. Let's dig a little deeper into these markets. I use Zillow every day. That's one of the tools I use every day. Redfin, Realtor.com, all these free tools where you're able to just cross-reference all the data and put it together to find these markets where builders are currently in and they need land. And that's how I find the markets I want to jump into.
And I'm not familiar with the new construction data or where to find that in Zillow. What's that look like? How are you doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. On Zillow.com, there's different filters. So for example, you could go to Zillow.com and then you'll go to for sale and then you can pick the property type and you can pick single family homes. And then when it comes to more options, they have a year built filter,
Okay.
but year built 2024 and you'll see all the new construction.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, yeah, then you can reverse engineer and look at builders that already sold houses that were built in 2024. They hungry. They probably want some more lots, right? So
Mhm.
their houses are just sitting on the market. So that's where we get them. And then some markets, they have the builder's name right there where it says this house is being built by this company. So you can just go ahead, copy that, put it into Google, look up the number, search it, and then call them up, make that introduction and see if you could be at service.
Mhm. And are you looking for national home builders? You looking for like regional, mom and pop, or do you care? What gets you excited when you see, oh, that's the builder?
Yeah, I personally, everybody has their own preference, but I like working with mom and pop builders. Why? Because I like to build that relationship with them. I can actually call the builder on the phone and I'm speaking with the owner of the company and we can actually sit down and have lunch. When I'm calling to these national builders, I'm speaking to, they have a land acquisitions department for each, like a couple areas that they're in. So if I wanted to go to a certain market, I'll call a corporate office who handles acquisitions for this area. And then they'll say, hey, you can email this person or call this person. But essentially, you don't have that. You have that relationship with them, but it's not like you know who the owner of the company is because it's such a big company. We're talking about DR Horton, Miranda Homes, like these big companies that aren't just in one state, they're all around the United States.
And so the relationship you build there could be fleeting to some extent. Like you're going to be in some Liberty County, Florida or something. But then if you switch somewhere else, then you've got to build a new relationship with a new person from a new department. Or is there a way to get in where you're the guy for, and they can just bounce between the different places?
That's a great question. From my experience, when you're actually providing value to them and you're bringing them opportunities, they usually let you know, hey, we're actually going to go into this market. So you have that first step in there, or you can contact them and say, hey, I have lots in this market. Do you have a contact for that? And then you guys do business together. They'll give you the contacts. You can have that relationship with them. But then that's a good thought too, because mom and pop builders, they're not national. So when you do build that relationship with them, it's just in their specific market, like their backyard where they can drive to the lots and things of that nature. So it's like a double-edged sword. So that's why I do a little bit of both. But anybody that wants to buy land, I'm interested in building relationships with them. So
Yeah.
I look at it. Yeah.
How high a volume can mom and pops do? I'm guessing they could get fairly big, but what's like that small mid-sized market look like?
Some of the mother pop builders I've worked with, they started buying maybe 2 or 3 lots, and now they're buying maybe 10 to 15, and now they're like, "Whatever you got, I want it." It's like
Yeah.
they're slowly building up, but it's a pleasure to see because you could start to see them building up, but also you're building up too. You guys are both helping each other grow. So those are the best relationships. If you can meet somebody that's a builder and they're hungry to start building houses and you could be at service and bring them land and they're just getting to this point where they're like, first, I just need 5 lots. Now I need everything. What do you have? So it's amazing to see the growth.
Yeah. That's actually one of my favorite parts about my business. I work with land investors and like when I just catch on with like just a savage and I see them start and then they start just getting bigger and just running alongside them.